Christ. Yeah, part 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with Larry and Frank. You guys having fun or what?
Blast.
Oh, Larry, you sound so interested. Jesus.
Shut up. I just don't like recounting past
Oh, but Larry, they're making money, so they're not failing.
But they're not making as much money as they should.
Who cares? They go from making $5 million a year to $1 million. It's still in the millions. It's more than what you got. That's the mindset of some people.
Their plan is slow and steady.
Yeah, well, I agree with Larry's mindset. Why would I want to make $1 million this week when I can make $5 million next week? It's common fucking sense, but I guess common sense is not common, and neither is a situation like this. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a situation involving the one and only Hulk Hogan, who everybody that has ever watched the show knows. I hate him as much as I hate Cena. And for the reason for that is for the same reason. I think Hogan's overrated. I think that you could have put the Macho Man Randy Savage in his spot. They would have did just fine. I think Macho Man Randy Savage was a better in-ring performer, was a better character, was a better talker. And quite honestly, Macho Man was way more of a badass than Hogan ever was. And I certainly would not want to pick a fight with the Macho Man because he would have bit your fucking nose off. But there has been a controversy involving some racist comments that Hulk Hogan made. Apparently, it's an interview that was conducted a few years ago, but it came out now. Is that correct, fellas?
I honestly don't know the whole situation.
Well, basically, he uttered a couple of racial slurs that is very unfavorable to African Americans. Now,
okay.
Listen. I'm a guy that has friends from all different ethnicities.
Right.
All different walks of life. My mindset is, as long as you're not arrogant, and you don't think you're better than everybody else, chances are I'll be one of the best friends you ever had. And these two guys can vouch for it. But, see, the thing with Hulk is this. For how long was he in TNA fucking up their business, doing them absolutely no favors? None. Frank has let his... There was an episode, Larry, I wish you could have been here for, where Frank was just going off on TNA. It was like me going off on Cena, except it was funnier.
You have to mail me this. I'm going to watch this immediately after this. You have to see Frank and know, like, really...
Frank, how bad was that rant?
Yeah.
Frank doesn't even want to talk about it.
I can tell. Let me see this. They're horrible.
They're horrible.
You talking about Hulk Hogan? Yeah.
Yes. I really don't know what to make of this situation. You know, to me, I just find it very hypocritical that Hulk Hogan's being erased from history when you got somebody like... No offense, as much as I love the Freebirds, but you got somebody like Michael Hayes, who there's been plenty of reports of him mouthing shit off to Mark Henry. Why the fuck you'd want to do that is beyond me. You want to get crushed?
Yeah, he got suspended, but yeah.
You want to get crushed into a fine powder? And what makes it even more asinine is that this was an interview Hogan conducted years ago, and he wasn't even in the WWE, but Michael Hayes conducted that kind of racial behavior in the WWE, and he still has a job. Different sets of rules for different people. Where do you guys stand on this whole situation? Me, I'm indifferent. I don't care. I just don't think that Hulk Hogan should be erased from history via like Chris Benoit. Benoit murdered somebody. Whether he knew what he was doing or not. And there are plenty of reports that came out saying that, you know, Benoit's brain was equivalent to that of an 8-year-old with Alzheimer's, so that tells me he wasn't in his right mind. So as an attorney, I wouldn't be able to try him with that kind of evidence. But at the end of the day, Benoit still killed 2 people. And you want to compare Hulk Hogan saying something 2 years ago, where in a span of 2 years, you can change your mind on a lot of things. But even so, you got somebody... Okay, whoever is projecting the Exorcist type video, can you cut it? Y'all fucking crazy. You, I don't know what that was, but I never want to hear it again. Listen, like I said.
When he went on his racist rant during his stand-up comedy. Oh, okay. That was Kramer? Yeah, that was his racist rant. Oh, the last film. Wow, the last factor thing. Wow, that was long ago. Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
But like I said, fellas, I just don't think that Hulk Hogan should be erased from history. That's all I'm saying. You guys have the floor now on the situation.
Go ahead, Frank. Well, what I was getting at before about them playing it safe, they're so scared when something like this happens. They're so scared of any negative public relations that they were on the top of relation that their biggest star ever, and that's why John Cena Wizard of the Day, because of stuff like that. That just reaffirms what they believe. That Cena's safe, and we'll go with him for as long as we can.
Yawn. Uninterested. But,
That's for me, here's the thing. I've thrown people, I've had really bigoted assholes come into my store, and I've thrown every single one of them out. I am the first to condemn anybody for that kind of language or any of that kind of behavior anywhere, because seriously, to me, you're literally holding back the progression of human civilization when you do that to me. However, here's the thing. It still sucks that he says it, but, and I'm not giving Hogan a free pass here, for him to have all ties severed to WWE, that to me is fine. That is justifiable. Because, yeah, that's a PR nightmare. Yes, it is. However, to remove him from the Hall of Fame, to completely discount what he's done for the business, absolutely not. That I can't get behind. Yeah, it's tough. That's what happens. Yeah. You gotta be on your pay the cues. But what bothers me, and this might be a side effect, but what bothers me now is this goes back to people not wanting to rock the boat at WWE for other minuscule reasons, because you think about this. What else could WWE do to other people like Austin, Hogan, Austin, Undertaker, and The Rock if they do something so minuscule? And it's not even, I'm not saying that was minuscule, but let's say they do something that WWE doesn't care for. If they could do it to Hogan, imagine what they could do to just anybody else who decides to just rock the boat. Yeah, that bothers me a little bit. That's kind of simple. Yeah.
It's just, to me, they're taking it way too far. The removal of the whole...
When all these Cena fans say, oh, well, this guy said Cena's a great wrestler, or that guy said Cena has the best matches. What do you think we're going to say? He can't wrestle? They'll lose the paycheck. Yep.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So many people try to throw in my face, oh, Del Rio said he could wrestle, Punk said he could wrestle, this, that, the other thing. Why would I believe a single word that they say when it comes to Cena when people have been trying to make excuses for this guy for years?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't buy a single word of it. Hulk, much as I hate his guts, aside from Dusty Rhodes, nobody else could have been in Hogan's spot when he first came in.
No way. From 84 to 88, Hogan was big.
He was the man. He was the man. Much as I may not like him, I admit the truth. Now, unless you guys have anything else to say on that subject, we're going to move on to the final subject of discussion.
Yeah, I'm cool. Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Now we got to get back into it. Daniel Bryan has been cleared from a neurologist in Arizona. And apparently this neurologist is a neurologist that deals with football players in the NFL. And according to this report, Daniel Bryan has been medically cleared with 0 restrictions. And there has been 0 indication that he's even going to be back by the end of the year. Why is that?
Is Arizona considered a smart city?
I'm sorry?
It depends. Is Arizona considered a smart state?
No, it's not.
Okay, then maybe people will actually rely on his credibility then.
You're a son of a bitch, Larry.
If they're being smart and they learned from their mistake last time, maybe they're just keeping them out and bring him in at an opportune time. Yeah. Or, they could be saying, get some more rest, take your time. But let's see if they are being smart. That's what I figured. Is that I'd like to believe. I would so like to believe that that's what's going on right now. Because honestly, if he came back tomorrow, who was he going to go up against?
Fair point.
Well, I would have said Ryback for the title, but he too was also hurt. I guess the only thing you could do, if you really wanted to do this, and would actually be, I know just the person you put him up against. Now, you might hate me that I'm putting this on a Raw, but I say Cena has an open challenge. Bryan wins the U.S. belt. He takes the mantle of the U.S. belt and starts having these amazing matches with people. What do you guys think about that? I think that would be great, but that'll never happen.
I'm with Frank. That would be great, but they'll never let Cena lose that belt clean. They made.
Anybody, why not have it for the one person to beat him cleanly?
Again, Larry, you're talking about Larry.
Could you imagine that match? The whole crowd chirping yes, and Daniel Bryan actually beating Cena for the title.
That friggin' place would.
We've seen it. At SummerSlam, we've seen it.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. The place would friggin'.
I think that Raw would rival the Raw when Mankind won the belt.
That even as much as I love Bryan, I think that's a bit of a stretch. Because that was a crazy reaction. That's probably one of the loudest reactions I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I don't watch it. When Austin comes out, man, and just the combined energy of both Austin and the knowledge that you knew Mankind was going to win at that moment.
But at the same time,
you make that shit up, man.
But at the same time, Larry. But at the same time, when anytime someone tries to discount Bryan's popularity, I always bring them back to a fateful night in December of 2013, the night of the Slammy Awards at the Championship Ascension ceremony, where you had a ring filled with the WWE Champion Randy Orton, the World Heavyweight Champion John Cena, the COO Triple H, CM Punk, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Booker T, Big Show. But yet the one name that the fans are chanting is Daniel Bryan. Why was that so?
Because he was the most popular wrestler.
I rest my case. To me, it wouldn't surprise me if they're just keeping him out because they don't want to deal with the fact that he's over.
Yeah, I'm sure that would ruin everything right now.
And honestly, a friend of mine said this on his show, and I agree. They know that with Daniel Bryan on the roster, Cena and Reigns are fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Because ain't no fucking way they're going to get cheered over him. No.
No.
And the funny thing is... crazy bastard. And the funny thing is, and I mentioned this in the second video, there are actually people that believe that only the yes chant is over. Not him. It's got nothing to do with him.
I don't even those people I don't tough with an 11.5-foot pole. I really don't. No, we talked about that before. If the SGM was over more than Bryan, it would have been just a fad. It would have lasted 3-6 months. It would have been the Fandango. Yeah. People like Daniel Bryan. People love Daniel Bryan.
That's what I say. I think that it's beyond liking. They fucking love this man. And the proof is in the pudding. Batista. How over was Batista when he won the World Heavyweight title from Triple H? Massively over.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Now, he returned after being away from the business for years and got booed out of the building. Why?
Because Daniel Bryan was not the winner.
Okay.
Not that the X-Jet wasn't the winner. Daniel Bryan.
Okay, now I'll take another name, a name bigger than Batista. The Rock comes out at the end of the Royal Rumble in 2015, this year, to raise the hand of his cousin, Roman Reigns, and the crowd booed. Why?
Yeah, well, I don't think they booed The Rock. They just booed the fact that they were getting is that they found out they were being manipulated. That's why. That's what they booed.
But why did they boo?
Because Daniel Bryan did it. Well, I'm not going to just say Daniel Bryan.
He's part of it.
But I get what you're saying, James. You can definitely argue that. But I think it's just also the combined notion of everything that happened. Daniel Bryan got eliminated, and everyone wanted to win got unceremoniously eliminated.
That's what I think that the end of the Rumble, it started with Bryan's elimination, which was dumb.
Yeah.
Which was dumb in every sense of the word. Made no fucking sense. Then they eliminated Wyatt, who was doing great. Then they eliminated Ziggler when he came out at number 30, and they tossed him out like he was shit.
Yep.
Then they tossed out Ryback, who was getting over again. Then they tossed out...
It was because they were booking Reigns as Cena 2.0. That's what it was.
And then they tossed out Dean Ambrose. Which, to me, I'm sitting there saying to myself, what was the point of that?
Actually, I think I know what the point... You're not going to like this answer, but I think I know what the point of it was. You want to know why? Because in the mind of the WWE... They thought in their wisdom that instead of having Reigns eliminate all of them, that's what Big Show and Kane were out there for. So Reigns wouldn't take the heat for eliminating those guys. That's what that was for, I think.
But the second he eliminated them...
No, but I think that's why they did what they did. And so that Big Show and Kane would take the heat for Reigns' victory, but that didn't end up happening. And then they resorted to their last resort when The Rock came out, and even at that, couldn't save it.
Well,
yeah, that backfired.
What I say is this: the Royal Rumble that's coming up in January must, I repeat, must be won by an ultra fan favorite. No ifs, ands, or buts. In 2015, you had Reigns win and he got booed out of the building. The year before that, you had Batista win. He got booed out of the building. The year before that, you had Cena win. He got booed out of the building. The year before that, you had Sheamus win. Nobody gave a fuck. The year before that, you had Del Rio win. Nobody gave a fuck. The last time somebody won...
I'm not going to say nobody gave a fuck about Del Rio because I did, but the problem was, they put no oomph behind him. And they put him in the opening match of WrestleMania, no less.
Exactly. Nobody gave a fuck. And the last time that somebody won the Rumble that people gave a shit was when Edge won. Think about that.
Absolutely.
So, and I want to end with this. You got WrestleMania 32 coming up.
Oh boy.
You want the 100,000 people? You're not going to get it by putting Eric Rowan versus Fandango in the main event. I hear so many idiots turn around and say they could put anyone they want in the main event, people will still come. No. Not how it works. You want that 100,000 people?
I know what they're going by. They're going by the logic that WrestleMania is the draw, not the people. To some extent, that is true. But, yeah, like you said, yeah. But you don't want to quiet 100,000 people.
Exactly. You want those 100,000 people going absolutely bonkers. And if you want that 100,000 people, you do the Shield triple threat match. You do Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar. You do The Undertaker versus Sting. You do Daniel Bryan in a meaningful match with somebody of note. You do The Rock versus Triple H. You do those things. You don't get 100,000. Think about this. They got 94,000 people at the Pontiac Silverdome for Andre and Hogan. Because that was one of the biggest matches they could possibly do. They are not drawing that WrestleMania just based on The Rock and Brock Lesnar being there. They are not. And now Hogan's not going to be there.
Would you be happy with the Daniel Bryan John Cena title match at WrestleMania? Absolutely. With Daniel Bryan losing?
Nope.
No.
I would not accept that. Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
You will have a... But here's the problem, though, and I know where Frank is going to go with this. Here's the problem, though. By that point, they already have your money. Yeah, I'm saying you'll get the yes chance, and then John Cena pulls it out.
John Cena has never beaten him on pay-per-view, and I would never change that.
And here's the other thing. You do that, you'll get your instant gratification with the money, but your future is going to take a major nosedive.
I think their future's already taken a major nosedive because
of course it has, but like I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to be too doom and gloom here. Basically, if it's in a downward spiral right now, the impact will hit if something like that were to happen. Because at that point, you will have to basically put everybody in the breaking point. They will, two wrestling names. The breaking point, and nobody will just watch it anymore. That will be the end. You'll see cancellation subscriptions worse than what we saw in 2014. People are going to stop going to the shows because at that point they'll understand things will never change. That, I think, will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So you don't think we'll be talking about that they've invested so much in Cena, the obvious push, his obvious push again? You don't think Vince wants to see him close out WrestleMania with holding the belt in front of the biggest crowd? Can you say that last part again? I'm sorry. I said, well, we talked about all night with his all the money and investments they made in Cena. His push now. Don't you think Vince McMahon will want to see his baby face of the company close that WrestleMania, the biggest WrestleMania crowd? Oh, you know what? And here's where I play an idiot. Frank. I have to believe that this company can, and I say this all the time, and every time I'm proved wrong, but here I am again with an even dumber thing in my face, and I have to say it, they can't be that stupid. You can't have two 10th Royal Rumbles, two near 10th WrestleManias. You can't possibly be that stupid. But, again, Frank, I can't disagree that you're not wrong, that the possibility isn't there, and I'm sure that if that happens, I'll be the one sitting at James's house, because I don't watch this shit anymore. I really don't. I've officially turned myself on from this, and the only reason I even watch your pay-per-views is because James invites me over his house, and I just like his company. And seriously, since Michael Cole proclaimed John Cena was the greatest champion ever, I'm gonna find a way to reach through the phone and give you a stunner. I swear to God.
I want someone I want somebody with a set of balls that actually their balls have actually dropped and have testosterone flowing through their bodies. How is John Cena anywhere close to Stone Cold Steve Austin? How's he anywhere close to The Undertaker? How's he anywhere close to The Rock? How's he anywhere close to Triple H? Anywhere close to fucking Kurt Angle, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes? He isn't in their class.
No.
He isn't. And you know what's funny? What's funny is all those guys I just named, when they were getting the top spots, they weren't the only game in town. Like, nope. John Cena is the only game in town at his level. Think about that. In the WWE, nobody else has been built up to his level.
Nope.
But when all those names I just mentioned...
And then when WWE was still the same game in town, when people like Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho and Edge were getting title pushes, they were still living up to the names that were still fresh in the mind of everybody, of Austin, Rock, and Undertaker. And yet, we cheered them. You know what I mean?
No, but it's the fans' fault for not accepting Cena and not accepting Reigns the way they were supposed to. Because I was under the impression...
When business is failing, because when business is failing, it's always the consumer's fault. And here's a little tip for people out there who don't really know how end of businesses work. When a company starts blaming their customers for their loss in revenue, that's about time that you really should start thinking about future endeavors and finding another product. Because I guarantee the future don't look too good for them. I'm going to say pull their heads out of their ass.
Well,
if you don't believe me, for you gamers out there, look what happened to Capcom. That's all I have to say.
All I know is this: they can't do another 10 years of Cena. They won't survive.
Honestly, James, I don't think they could survive another 3 years of Cena. I don't think they could. With the way this stock is tumbling right now, I don't think they could survive another 3 years with CNN.
What I find hysterical is that their network subscriptions have been down, and that's why they went to Taker and Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they still have? It's amazing that they still have to go to these guys. To me, it baffles me when they have a roster filled with talent that can do the jobs, but they don't want to give them. They don't want to give them the booking. They don't want to give them the leeway to do those things and to get those matches, to get the match length and the match quality. You know, I say this: if John Cena were to get injured tomorrow, they don't have anybody built up to take his spot. And you put all your eggs in one basket, what happens when the egg in that basket cracks? Because I don't think any of us, that anyone that's watching this video, anyone that's, that's talked to me, I don't think any of us want to see the company fail. We want it to be better. We want it to be the best it can be. That's why we do these things. That's why we have these conversations.
Well, strictly speaking, nobody wants to see somebody lose a job. Absolutely not. Not in this day and age.
No, of course not. Especially with the way this economy's been for the last almost 8 to 10 years. It's been horrible. The stock market's never been worse. The job market's never been worse. The dollar has been significantly devalued. Nobody wants to see people out of work. And the fact of the matter is, we look at the WWE for what it is. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time doing. They have a hard time looking at that company for what it is. It is a company that has become complacent, that has become stuck in their ways, and they just don't care anymore. I think part of me thinks that Vince is waiting for someone to buy them out. Because do you want to know the truth of the matter? Vince has been booking the WWE the last few years the way he wants it, not the way the fans wanted it. Because let's refresh our memories. Vince didn't want Stone Cold as the number one hero. He wanted Rocky Maivia as his number one villain. He wanted Triple H to be his number one villain. Did that happen?
No.
None of those things happened. And Hunter Hearst Helmsley was never the number one bad guy. Triple H was.
Oh, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, okay.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Triple H are two totally different characters.
Right.
And Rocky Maivia and The Rock are night and day. And
yep.
what always...
No, remember, you said he wanted Rocky Maivia as the villain. No. He wanted Rocky Maivia as the face.
That's what I'm saying. He wanted Rocky Maivia as the number one hero, and he wanted Hunter Hearst Helmsley as the number one villain.
Right.
And none of those things happened.
In fact, the exact reverse happened in 1998, culminating in one of the greatest
ladder matches of all time. Oh, yes.
I mean,
and you want to know what's funny?
He did get his wish. He eventually did get his wish when Triple H became super heel and Rock became super face.
But you want to know what it was, though? They were two totally different characters than what Vince wanted. And that's the end game, though. When Vince listened to his audience, the quality of the show was just better. The overall feel of the product was better. I mean, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If Vince McMahon had his way, you don't get Stone Cold Steve Austin. You don't get The Rock. You don't get Triple H. You don't get D-Generation X. And more than likely, the WWE goes belly up because if they wouldn't have changed, WCW, with the way they were putting out their television, would have ate them alive. Right or wrong, fellas?
It depends on if, yeah. You know what? Yes, WCW probably would have.
If WCW does all the crazy shit they were doing in '96 onward, and WWE never changes their style of booking, what happens?
Yeah, Vince would have been in a position probably where he sold out to Ted Turner. Yes, I absolutely do see that.
And you want to know what's funny? I don't think WCW would have made their company become so PC the way WWF did. Something just tells me, especially if Eric Bischoff would have bought that company, I don't think it would have went that way. And honestly, the only glimmer of hope any wrestling fan that has a desire for change, as I started my show tonight with the late great Owen Hart's theme song, Enough is Enough and It's Time for a Change, the only hope any of us really have for the kind of change we'd like to see is if Vince is out of that spot of power, if Kevin Dunn mysteriously vanishes from the business, and for me personally, if John Cena hangs it up. Because as long as he's around, he ain't going to do no jobs clean. He has not lost a feud clean to anybody in his run as a babyface since 2005. There isn't a single feud that he's lost that
Well, he's left clean, but
clean. I can't think of a feud that he ever lost.
he hasn't lost a feud, right?
He hasn't ever lost a feud.
And then by the time he's done. Nobody even remembers the match he lost.
And the funny thing is this: people like to bring up that Kevin Owens won clean at Elimination Chamber. You know how far of a cry that victory seems now? Does that victory carry any merit whatsoever, fellas?
No, wait for a couple more months. Wait for a couple more months for Owens' job in a Raw every week. Yep.
And then people are going to say that John Cena elevated him.
You know, if he goes up in a feud against Cesaro, he's going to lose.
Not that I have a problem with Cesaro winning a match, because I think that guy's long overdue for a push. But Kevin Owens should be fighting Cesaro for the United States Championship. I
think it's going to be Ambrose and Wyatt all over again. In which, again, we see the next problem. I mean, if we go outside of Cena's booking, the next big problem we have is this horrible 50-50 booking that has resulted in mid-card hell. It's like...
Resulted that way for the Nexus, resulted that way for Ziggler, resulted that way for Wyatt.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I said it resulted in that way for Ziggler, it resulted that way for Wyatt, resulted that way for the Nexus, and now it's going to result in the same way for Kevin Owens.
I'm going to give a very stupid analogy right now. You might not agree with it, but it was an analogy I was toying around with my head the other day. I was actually on a wrestling video game kick the other day, and I was playing WWF Attitude for PlayStation. You guys remember that game?
I remember that game. I had it for the N64.
The point of the career mode was you form a ranking of superstars. And every superstar ranking, you have the European title, the Intercontinental title, and the WWF title. Now, as a kid, I easily saw how every one of the superstars in each bracket fit into that category. People like Kurgan, Goldust, and Steve Blackman were in the European. People like Edge, Christian, Gangrel, Ken Shamrock were in the Intercontinental, and people like Austin Rock, Undertaker, Triple H, and Kane were in the title picture. Now, I, as a kid, understood and gravitated to that easily. Why? Because the wins and losses up until that point match where these superstars ranked in the company. Now, on the flip side, you have TNA, who did the worst thing ever and actually made a clear-cut ranking system. You don't do that in professional wrestling, because here's the thing, then you can't swerve anybody. Because the first thing people are going to say was, oh, he's ranked number 2, how does the number 5 guy do that? You don't do that. But it is the job of you as a company to build a sense of worth in the superstars there. Like, where they rank in the minds of the viewers. And right now, all you have is you have John Cena, Randy Orton, and then everybody else. That's what you have. Well, I hate to say it, but that's what you have. Brock, someone who's never on TV at all, who's barely ever on TV. He's a part-timer. Right, and then now we're wise enough to know that with this contract, he's never going to be a steady guy. Okay, you know what? I'll play. I'll indulge you, Frank, and say Brock. Okay, whatever you say Brock fits into this ranking. Do you think he's over Cena or between Cena and Orton? I think he's just an attraction now, because they're not going to do the same thing, give him the belt, and he's going to come. Exactly. Does it every 2 months. Back when I was growing up, it was easy to see who was on top, who was better, who could beat who. Like, nobody in their right mind at the time would have said, oh, Edge could beat Undertaker. Absolutely not. Edge could beat Kane. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? You're 100% right. That's what I keep saying. If you had Undertaker and Kane go against each other, despite the fact that at the time, Undertaker had cleanly beaten Kane in every match he'd been in, Kane still seemed to be a threat because he beat Austin. Right.
But the thing is, though, when all of those major villains lost back in the day, they were protected, and they weren't just beaten like they were nobodies. And there was a follow up to their defeat, and that's what you don't see that anymore. And unfortunately,
like I keep saying, the damage
they do damage to these guys when they put them in 3 5-minute matches on TV. Like, I don't know, two popular guys, and one guy loses, and one guy wins, and then the next week the guy who won loses the next week to another guy. So
it makes no sense. And it serves no purpose. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. We're going to call it a night. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate any comments or questions that you may have. And the three of us hopefully will be joining you the night after SummerSlam. You guys take care.